What's good, YouTube? Reese Rich here. Welcome back to another episode of Custom Creations, where I give breakdowns of custom figures. And the custom figure that I'm giving a breakdown of today is my custom Cyborg Superman. Now, as you're probably thinking, McFarlane has already released his own Cyborg Superman, but I believe that's the one from the New 52, and I wanted more that aligned with the classic version from where he actually appeared from the Reign of the Superman. Okay, so starting off with what went into this, obviously I said just wanted the more classic design. This is actually one of the customs that I've been wanting to make the longest. I've had this for a few months now before I started this channel. So for parts, the parts that I used was not the normal Action Comics 1000 Superman, but the one from the Devastator 2-pack. Got it loose, cheap. So I figured, why not? I needed it anyway. Just happened to luck into all the pieces I needed at one place. So the Devastator 2-pack Superman, and then if you can see the parts from the Snyderverse Cyborg. So I'll just lay him down. But parts from the Snyderverse Cyborg. I didn't like how the design looked in the movie at all, but for whatever reason, I feel the figure looks better than it did in the movie. But it's a good figure. I've seen a lot of people use it for just repainting the Cyborg, or you making like fail safe, or just like I did with Cyborg Superman. But yeah, those are the two figures that went into this. Obviously, you can see the Cyborg arms and legs. Now, the thing about the leg is, obviously, to be comic accurate, you have to have half the cybernetics meet up the leg to the blue. So what I did was, I was originally just going to leave it being the just put the whole Cyborg leg on there, but it didn't look good at all, and it was also way too long, so he was like standing like he was hobbled or whatever. So what I did was took my X-Acto knife and got some heat, and this is the original Superman leg. Cut off the top, which is still, cut off the bottom, which is in my hand, and the top's still up there. Did that, and then I cut off the bottom of the Cyborg leg and put it there, and then glued it. And I think what I actually did was I glued it, and then I think I went over it with some Mod Podge, smoothed that out, and then painted that silver. Okay, and we're back. Sorry for the background noise there. Some early morning mowing, had to make a little jump cut there, but yeah, back into it. Let's get into a little. Okay, for what we used to make them. So, as you can see, the silver is divided along the chest. All I really did for that was just use some, if I can get it, painter's tape to divide the line straight down. And I also put it over the Superman symbol because I did not want the symbol to become flat instead of metallic when I sprayed my sealer, which I used matte Mr. Super Clear. Works really well. I've moved away from that recently. I've started using Mod Podge, because I find it's been stronger, especially with putting things back together. And to start off with a base, what I did was simple Vallejo black primer. Then after that dried, I went on with just Vallejo model color black, flat black. And then after I had it all black and then I sealed it, I put it all the way back together and then dry brushed silver on over the top of the black. So then that takes care of the body. And now for the head, if you can see that's just still the normal head from the Devastator Superman 2-pack. I didn't have any like Terminator figures that I've seen people use, or a custom head to order. So what I've just done is, until I can get one, I just painted the side of it where his cybernetics would normally be silver. I like it. I think it works for what it needs to be currently. I've seen a few custom ones, but they end up looking way too big and cartoony, like bobbleheads. So I think I'll just stick with that one for now. Okay, so that's everything that went into him, including pieces, paint, and sealing. Now, let's get into some figure comparisons. Alright, first comparison here we have is my Cyborg Superman with Superboy. I think they go really well together. I can't remember exactly how high comparable they're supposed to compare in height in the comics, but it works well for me. I like this design. I know a lot of people have done custom heads, and I've seen them, especially when they remove the stubble and give them some goggles, and they definitely look better. But I like it for what it's worth. Next, here we have my Cyborg Superman with steel. I said in past videos, talked about the steel, that I really like the figure. I know a lot of people have problems with it, thinking it's too dull or whatever, or not liking the chest symbol. But I like it, even as base form, as a customizer. Some people have gotten a bunch of blue globs on the private area for their paint. I think they're supposed to do like metal wearing effect. That's what McFarlane wanted to do. Not really a fan of it, but mine, I didn't get any too bad on my figure, so I like it. I ultimately want the plan to do an all silver repaint, but I just have to figure out how would I do that while also retaining articulation and not having it be a mess. So that's steel. Next, here we have filling the spot for the Eradicator, my custom Eradicator Lois Lane from the Tales of the Dark Multiverse. So, as many people can relate, I'm sure, I never was actually able to not even just find Eradicator, but never ever see it in person on the shelf. So, since I was interested in this Lois Lane design, I figured I'll just make her my main Eradicator. Because, like I said, never seen it in a store, never held it in the hand, barely see it online that much. If it is, it's for like $60, which I'm not willing to pay for three times just for one figure. So here's my Eradicator Lois Lane next to my custom Cyborg Superman. And last but certainly not least, here alongside the man he hates the most, I have my custom Cyborg Superman with the classic labeled McFarlane Superman. A lot of contention about this figure too, about the smile, not the colors, but the choice of belt style. I personally do wish they would have actually tried to go along with the classic style and give him the actual classic belt with the belt loops, but I'm sure down the line I'll find some way to do that with this figure. Just gotta find some trunks that fit. I like the smile. Always gonna be a big fan of just, happy Superman, inspiring hope. It's not really debatable that these hands really are too big, but I've seen people, most specifically Bones in the Necro Zoo, say that if you can, I don't know if it's just the hands or the wrist pegs or both, but switch them out for the Shazam Fury of the Gods figure, and they are much more proportional. And I actually scratched it. I did have one last figure to show him off with from Death of Superman, which is my custom, kind of semi-work in progress Doomsday. I plan, now that I've actually started taking apart figures and sanding them and taking out the pegs and stuff, I actually do plan to eventually find some Bane legs and give him Doomsday accurate boots. But for one of my more recent and favorite customs is Doomsday. I love him. Work went into him. The most difficult part was just, I had Apple Barrel Green, which for some reason the green wanted to go on sparsely even after being put on top of primer. So I think that's maybe like 4 layers of paint, green paint. That was probably the hardest part of the figure, just lining up the green. But it was really enjoyable. A lot of dry brushing, as you can see on the bone spurs. But yeah, that's Cyborg Superman and Doomsday. And now here we have all the figures posed up together. Really happy with how this Cyborg Superman came out, one of my more favorite customs. Still debating whether I want to do another head on or not, but I really love how it is now. I feel like it works great with the rest of these guys and other Superman villains and figures. And really like how the leg came out too. Is one of my, when I started customizing, this was one that I had really high on the list, next to some others that I can't wait to show you guys. But I believe that's all I have for this episode of Custom Creations. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching.